GM, everyone, welcome to DAOpunks Cohort 4. Unbelievable. This is the first AMA session. It is Tuesday at 8 p.m. UTC. I think TrueCat can correct me if I'm wrong. And what we're doing today is just holding space for folks to talk about their grant application themselves and really, I mean, in some ways, almost anything they want to related to their journey in Web3 and gosh knows what else. We're just going to go top to bottom in the Discord. There's probably no better way to do it. And we'll start at the top with Downlore. I'll just remind you all, if you start getting near the 10-minute mark, just to kind of give everybody time to chat today. I know we're going to go over an hour, but probably not, hopefully, too much, just in case people have stuff to do. If it gets too close, I'll probably ping you in Discord and try not to interrupt you, and then just kind of to try to be mindful and conclude. I might have a couple of questions, but for the most part, I'm going to try to just be a neutral human, again, giving you space to chat. So with that, I would like to introduce Downlore. Downlore, I do know personally, not personally, but at least in the Web3 world, through his work at Bankless DAO. He's also helped us in the newsletters quite a bit. Don't know much about him personally, so I'm pretty excited to hear from him generally. And I believe, Downlore, you're here on behalf of a project you're starting called Voyager, which looks to teach some Web3 security stuff, which is firmly within your wheelhouse. So with that, I'd love to turn the floor over to you and just talk about whatever you like. If you have any questions for me, please feel free at any time. And with that, I'm going to mute and over to you, sir.
GM, just a quick mic check. Am I coming over quickly? Good.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, so my name is Downlore. Thanks for the intro, Hero. Like, I might as well start where I am now and then kind of go back to my past before. So right now, I'm part of the InfoSec team at Bankless DAO. I used to do like a lot of writing for like our weekly roll-up newsletter. I still do some writing, but now my interests have kind of gone to a whole bunch of places in within Bankless DAO. So I'm still predominantly in the information security field. So one thing that I had the idea of working on for the past couple of months that I kind of solidified really, I think probably in Equitable Tokyo was this idea of a Web3 security education platform. And here I mentioned it's like called Voyager. That's the name I'm kind of pitching it as it is right now. The idea is that going back, like I've been in crypto for probably about a decade-ish, like Bitcoin 2013. I think that's when it kind of started, like Litecoin and all that. And then once we kind of got into Ethereum, it seemed like the attack service that people, like ordinary people using crypto, had to worry about just like kind of exploded. And while lots of companies like wallet vendors, education companies, media companies have been trying to do a admirable job of trying to like educate Web3 users on how to use their crypto, how to do self custody safely, how to be aware of scams. Um, from my perspective, it seems like security is like a cat and mouse game. And if you want to imagine the attackers and scammers and fraudsters as the cat, they're kind of leaps and bounds over the mouse at this point. So my idea is like I want to help level the playing field, and that was part of like the reason why I started writing phishing school newsletter articles for Bankless South for the weekly roll up. And also why I help contribute partly to the Web3 security course at Bankless Academy. But I before I went to InfoSec, I used to be like a full stack developer, like I guess more of an indie hacker. So I did UX design, backend development, front end development. Going to InfoSec probably 3 years ago, I haven't really done much buildings per se, but now I'm kind of starting to get that itch, like ironically during the bear market, to actually build something. So part of the reason why I want to apply for the grant is to kind of kickstart this Voyager project I had in my mind, which would be a security awareness platform for Web3. So similar to Bankless Academy or Ledger Academy or MetaMask Learn. But the idea is that it's very specific on Web3 security, very specific on fraud and scams, like not so much on smart contract security. I think we have plenty of resources for that. But my wheelhouse is really on fraud and scams. That comes from past experience working in TradFi. For as a cybersecurity consultant in TradFi, like before I went to Web3. Um, so I kind of want to dump that knowledge into a platform I can build and share with people. Um, yeah, and what else? Yeah, like I was like I guess a corporate like for 3 years in infosec, and then last year I kind of like decided to take on a sabbatical. So I've kind of been trying to become like a DAOpunk, well, having really a sustainable model for that. So Voyager is like going to be my way of figuring out my place in Web3 that it would be sustainable. Like right now, I'm helping write some newsletter content, contributing to some other DAOs. I'm helping a lot with this Bangladesh Asia collective. Um, that would be have like Bangladesh Japan, Bangladesh Korea. These are international media nodes within Bangladesh that I help a lot. But the idea is that Voyager, this security awareness platform for Web3, will be the project I want to focus on in the future. And for that, I'm like hoping to use the grant money to like offset the essentially my cost of living, and also to bankroll the service fees I would need to pay for this. It'd be like a mix between Web3 and Web2. Like I would need to like yeah, like domain name service, hosting costs, things like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Awesome, Download. No, thank you. I don't have any further questions. LiftFast, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. I do, as somebody who handles a lot of our DAOpunks infrastructure, and like looking at the the peek behind the curtain of the expenses. I do appreciate how using the funds to help pay for those expenses kind of is really critical. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Download, and appreciate your time today.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Of course. Uh, GM, next to you, Jose, GM, sir.
Hey there, it's my turn.
Yes, sir. Are you ready? We can skip you if you're not prepared.
I was trying to draft something like, hey, I should write and have something in my mind because I speak Spanish.
Hmm.
I'm learning English on Web3 since I'm here. So, hi, my name is Jose Cabrera. I am 23 years old, and I consider myself a Web3 native because I use different blockchains for creating my content, and I work with DAOs. Uh, Basically, I am a musician, and my journey has been about music for social impact. Also, because of my context and how do I want to impact the society with my message as a musician. So I do music and I do events, physical and digital. So uh, with Web3, I have been able to achieve a lot of things that in my country with the context, I don't know in which other way I will do it. Um, so I consider myself a producer, an artist, and an educator. I do onboarding every day. Right now, yesterday, my friend Rondon did his introduce yourself to the Hive blockchain. Hive blockchain is one of the places that I focus the most when I onboard somebody because with zero investment they can create content and they can have an impact on their life, especially here in Venezuela. And if you are a musician, and the thing is that I am surrounded of musicians and people related, connected to their creativity, and they are looking also to connect with their roots. So uh, I consider that I do like a bridge service when I translate, and I try with my community that what I have been learning these 6 years took them less, especially because most of them doesn't speak English. So I try to do that synthesis in order that once we all have the research mindset and the Web3 mindset, we can evolve together. So I do music mostly. I work in metagame in the community side, I have been the community deputy in the past 2 seasons, in the past 6 months, but I have 2 years working on metagame, learning English in the process. And what I basically started doing there was mental health activities with fractal yoga, 1 hour of yoga that I did with my friends and my partner. Um, the intention was to keep away from FOMO and hold the vibe. That is like a statement that is like part of the philosophy of the live space we like to host. And what takes me here in crypto is this journey of being an integral being, like a polymath. So yeah, I really enjoy doing music, and what I'm doing on Web3 is that I connect my music to education, and I'm looking forward to do music for social impact with NFTs. It's what I want to do with the technology. And besides that, I do music on Discord every week, especially on Monday and Thursday. In Monday, I do music on the Token Smart community since like 3 years ago, every Monday. And thanks to them, is that I was able to live, to have a funding as an artist, to have certain sponsorship or support by the community through the Discord tip bot. So I live it for a couple of years as a digital street musician. I do street music in Venezuela. I love to play in the subway, and with crypto, I have been able to travel in my country internally, surfing the different issues that you can face here. Like sometimes you don't find cash to pay for the ticket bus and stuff. So I have been posting about my process on the Hive blockchain, but after I connected with my community on Discord, my journey have been on Discord mostly since a couple years ago. And last year, with my community, I was able to crowdfund my computer because I was doing everything with a cell phone. And uh, yeah, I have been having a journey towards financial freedom, but it's like, to me, Web3 is like an opportunity to also have a meaningful journey in other layers of life. When I onboard somebody, it's not only Web3, it's about their identity and to understand what their identity is, and that is really valuable. So yeah, nice to meet you guys. I'm here to serve. So, yeah, looking forward.
Jose, thank you. I love the comment about being a polymath. I think a lot of folks would maybe self-identify that way in this space in some ways. That's awesome. Very ambitious. Very cool. Thank you for being here, and thank you for applying. Next, I think we'll move from Jose to Mr. James Montgomery, and I'm sure you're here on behalf of Governor, sir.
That's right. GM gang. Hey, thanks for having me. Little background on myself. As part of Bankless DAO's genesis, and have tried to serve as best I can since. In the experience there, starting at various guilds and grants committee, etc., seeing a really big opportunity for like the soft governance and soft consensus side of things. So I imagine most of us here have used Snapshot, have used sesh polls, have given little thumbs up on some messages in Discord, and I felt like the space was ripe for a bit more automation, a bit more direct inclusion of our tokens. So for most of what we do in Bankless DAO and probably many other places, we just pass in collab land, make some rolls, and roll gate some polls. That has a number of like flaws in it. The most obvious of all being that you can't actually use weighted or quadratic voting. You're just kind of gating to certain levels, and that works well enough. It's a moderate solution, mainly because nothing else existed. And so I set off to create Governator, a bot that could exist kind of in the middle of Sesh and this really light straw poll, kind of having some of its own vulnerabilities and reliance on Collabland, and then like Snapshot and like the pain, the other pain of having to like bring out and sign with your Ledger device or multi-sig. Like I think there is a really great opportunity for this middle ground solution. So Governator exists as kind of a session-oriented Web3 token use aggregator. So like basically you can go and create a poll, say, okay, I want to be able to use my bank tokens. I want to be able to use each of my DAOpunks in aggregate for polls that are good for that sort of thing. I've been studying governance for the past 2+ years. Like there's all sorts of best practices for when you should use token weighted, when you should use one person, one vote. How can we use our tokens? How can we create new tokens? Like it's a pretty wild west out there in terms of how these things can be applied. And so over the past year and a half, we've been working on Governator. We have a really great foundation to build on. We're working right now to make the tool scalable for individual communities to allow for it to support, things that each community decides is how it governs itself. There's no one size fits all. And basically still allow for people to vote using their tokens through an emoji click. So you would go one time or every so often, verify your accounts. These are my accounts. These are the 3 I have. And then vote with a thumbs up, thumbs down, and a smiley face emoji, skull emoji, whatever you decide to set up. And we'll go and query all those accounts and pass those votes down per the voting strategy. So right now we're on Bankless DAO, and we support membership voting. So if you have 35K or not, as well as token weighted. So if you want to set up a poll, it says, okay, for this poll, we want to get some soft consensus on like a BDIP, for example, and say, okay, this gives us a good indication of token weight if we want to take this to Snapshot or not. And just as well to be able to mix that with roles. So we can say something like, okay, you have to have a writers guild role tag, or however that community has defined themselves. And also, we'll count the NFTs for each individual member. So the flexible application of this tool in my vision for it is really, really cool. And so right now, looking to help us skirt by in this bear market, we were lucky enough to get some Bankless grants, which is great. And just as well here to not only come for and apply for the grant from all of you, but also to espouse and say, hey, we have this tool that exists in the self-governance space. As you govern yourselves, as you have polls and decide on things, the various digital weights that you give to yourselves, how can we work together? And is this tool something that you would find useful in your governance flows as well? Like I had the pleasure of speaking to someone from Aavegotchi, and they have like 7, 8 different contracts, and Snapshot is so overbearing for them to use. And so working with them to figure out how can we create something that's a little easier, lightweight, to run right in Discord or right in Discourse or on your website, so that you can have these polls without needing to come and sign with your wallet every time. So there's a place for Snapshot, there's a place for Sesh, and I think there's a place for Governator. Yeah, I think that's it. I could talk for like 5 hours, so I'll stop now.
I might be able to listen for 5 hours as a self-proclaimed governance nerd. So thank you, Mr. Montgomery, for that. Cool project. Yeah, I know I'm unbiased, but it is a cool project. So anyway, thank you, sir. Uh, Moving on, next we have, let's see, where we are we here? Miss Joe Dorr. Miss Joe Dorr?
Hi, am I Claire? Can everybody hear
G
me?
GM, yeah, you're a faint to me. I don't know about anybody else. Is anyone else having an issue hearing?
The volume's a bit
GM,
low, but
Yeah, she's a bit low.
mm, is it any better now?
Not really. You may want to check your Discord setting and see if you can pull your volume up from there.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Um,
So I think it's
um,
called voice and appearance or something. Can't quite remember offhand. Let's see here.
voice and appearance.
Yeah, voice and
Sorry.
video.
Okay, 1 second. Let me go there. Voice
And then
and
if,
video. Oh, okay, got it. Is this better?
yeah, I think that's better. So if you crank your input volume all the way up, that will be helpful, I think.
Okay. Now I just have to go back. Okay, so hello everyone.
GM?
I'm Joe, GM, GM, and I'm Joe Idor, and I'm a wellness advocate, a community builder, and yeah, I do own a DAO Punk, but today I just want to talk a little bit about myself. I basically got into Web3 in January 2022. I think that was the bull run. Yes. And I recently left a corporate career in administration, uh, private aviation administration, actually. And I got into Web3, and my journey actually started with Take Up Space DAO. It's actually a community owned media DAO where I literally witnessed the incredible potential of DAOs actually to foster individual empowerment and community growth. But basically, why I'm here today is because I really truly believe in the power of wellness and, the integration of mental, emotional, and spiritual health to transform lives. Now, the thing is, in Web3, we're constantly building in this our new digital world, and sometimes we tend to forget the importance of our well-being. And for our DAOpunks community, I feel like it has this really remarkable spirit of innovation and collaboration, and I feel like it's a perfect place for me to, start my wellness project. Now, I applied for this grant to fund this project to bring wellness to the forefront of not just DAOpunks, but the Web3 community. And I want to use this funds to literally, develop a website, launch a bit of marketing campaigns, and create basically an interactive platform where individuals can grow, learn, and support each other on their wellness journeys. Now, I know a lot of people, if would basically ask like, why why holistic health and wellness coaching? Like, why is it particularly important for the Web3 community? But I feel like Web3 is like rapidly evolving, and we spend a long time, online. It requires long hours, basically, and intense focus. And we're basically charting new territories every day. And it can lead to really high stress levels, burnout, and sometimes a sense of disconnection, literally, from our physical and emotional well being. Now, regular wellness practices are definitely beneficial, and I'm sure all of us have certain practices that we have certainly imbibed, but holistic coaching goes a step further because it provides personalized guidance, support, and accountability, helping each other integrate more wellness practices into our daily lives in a way that aligns with our unique needs. Now, for Oracle readings, which I also provide, they are sort of like a tool for self discovery and personal growth. They sort of provide some insights into our subconscious minds, and they kind of help navigate challenges and guide us to our highest potential. Now, why I went a little into that is because I have provided the services also in Take Up Space Style. And we had like holistic health and wellness Fridays. And truly, I didn't initially, when I started it, I didn't think people would actually jump into it. But people actually became really, really into it because it was an inclusive space to just, talk about their day. Most people just want you to listen, and not everybody has the time or the energy to listen to anybody else these days. Everybody is trying to put something forward. So having this inclusive space, I feel, would also really benefit the our DAOpunks community. So for my application, and if you do go through my application, please go through my application. Basically, I have set clear and measurable milestones for this project. And to be honest, I'm truly committed to transparency and accountability. I will definitely share my journey with regular updates, and I'm looking forward to feedback and suggestions as well. I'm here to listen and to learn and to literally understand people's unique needs. I feel like that will be one of the potential challenges I may have because we are pretty diverse, but I'm truly committed to actually learning more about the community and Web3 as a whole to be able to address that challenge. So I'm looking forward to starting, more conversations around wellness and DAOs and how we can build a healthier, happy Web3. And you can reach me on Discord, Twitter, Instagram. I am Miss Joe Edor, MSJOEDOR. And I'm always open to dialogue and collaboration and also new ideas. So that's it for me. Thank you for listening, guys.
Miss Joe Edor, my apologies for mispronouncing your name at the beginning. That was awesome. We actually, shortly after Mint during the bowl, when it was really hot, we used to run a mental health weekly session here, just kind of a check-in. No, like trained mental health professionals, but just kind of witnessing the importance of that in Web3 in particular. Because for some of us, we can ride the edge of burnout for a long time without taking care of ourselves well enough. So awesome. Thank you for your work. Next, we're going to move down the list to Sasquatch.lens. GM.
GM, everyone. Thanks, Hiro, for giving me this opportunity as well. Hello, everyone. In my past life, before jumping into the DAO bandwagon, I was primarily a consultant, working in multiple geographies, starting from Asia, moved to UK for a couple of years, then to Middle East, a little bit of East Coast, then a little bit of Israel, and then finally settling down in Latin America as well. And during the pandemic, I really loved podcasting. So I started a podcast by the name of Sass It Up. It was my first SaaS podcast because I had a good understanding about the IT landscape and was consulting with a few of SaaS companies as well. And something interesting happened. I got into an ecosystem called as On Deck. It's a Silicon Valley based ecosystem of a lot of investors, founders, as well as operators. And they had a very systematic program called as DAO Fellowship. So I was curious as a creator. I said, hey, why not join this DAO Fellowship to understand governance, compensation, and other mechanics as well. And I was lucky enough to be coached by some of the great leaders. Actually, I think my mentor was a gentleman from Hats Protocol, Nick. I absolutely adore and respect his knowledge in the governance cycles. And we had some of the guests like Zach Anderson from Coordinape. Coordinape is a tool that Bankless uses, and a lot of other DAOs also use it. And I had a guest session in that particular fellowship from Bankless by the name of Frog Monkey as well. So we spoke to Chase Chapman and a lot of other folks. So I was very impressed by the new world that was opening up for a lot of emerging creators. That led me to dig deep into DAOs. So started getting into a few of the protocol DAOs like Ocean DAO, got into Craft Protocol, understood the data mechanics primarily because I love data. And I thought, is it possible if I actually start a Web3 podcast altogether? So I named the podcast as the Web3 Ocean, as you can see on my DP. And I had a good following on Twitter, 15K plus. So I thought, how do I have the same kind of followership or community or audience, which is very typical in the Web3 social landscape as well. So I dabbled a lot in Lens protocol and also Forecaster, Zion, and other emerging Web3 socials like Favor as well. That led me to put the structure or architecture of my podcast in place. And yeah, I have launched 4 episodes already. One of them was with my mentor Nick, who is currently leading Hats Protocol. Amazing gentleman. And the second one was with Zach as well, Anderson from Coordinate. And in the future, I plan to record more episodes specific to DAOs, also specific to a lot of other Web3 themes or theses. So my narrative has been ABCD, which is like a very consultative narrative. But A stands for audio, B stands for blockchain, C stands for community, and D stands for data. On the data side, I'm currently trying to work closely with Graph Protocol primarily. And on the audio side, I've been actually understanding how different use cases are currently being used. Like there is a platform called as Fountain.fm that gives you satoshis or sats for listening to your podcast, as opposed to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, which is a very Web2 centric play. On the blockchain side, I'm trying to work with few protocols and DAOs. Last year, I worked with States DAO. It is a Korean DAO that had started. I was running their accelerator for onboarding a lot of Web3 founders and get them into that funnel of venture funding as well. So it was for 4 months stint, but then the DAO really mellowed down. And I've been participating in a lot of DAO governance cycles of multiple DAOs. Voted for both Bankless DAO, also for DAOpunks in the previous cohort as well. I hold a DAOpunk as well. I'm creative 168. And in the future, I plan to engage primarily in this cohort-based learnings. I'm an educator myself. I teach about DAOs in a Mexican university called as Igate Business School, primarily focusing on governance, compensation, and token engineering. And in the future, I plan to run an accelerator either within maybe in the future, who knows, I might be engaging or supporting or helping you in running your accelerator as well. Part of Radar DAO, trying to learn more about Lens protocols, Cultivator DAO as well. And there is another Asia-based DAO called as Coach DAO, where I mentor to a lot of Web3 founders specific to NFTs and token engineering. My expertise lies in educating people. I'm a guest professor myself, and I try to learn more from the landscape that I'm currently in. Uh, Within DAOpunks, I absolutely admire a lot of people that I've been listening to, trying to make more friends from Bankless, the OGs, and wonderful and beautiful people from this digital realm as well. And on the podcast, on the creator realm, I'm trying to double down on my creative journey as well. So yeah, I've applied to DAOpunks to be a more integral part of the community and heavily involved in the narrative that DAOpunks have. That's it about me.
Saswat, awesome. Thank you for your continued contributions to the ecosystem. I knew you were doing a lot of things. I didn't realize you were doing that many things. So on behalf of DAOpunks, thank you, sir. Um, and then finally, we'll move to Vanessa, GM, Vanessa Gill.
GM punks, do you hear me good?
I do. I hear you quite well. Thank you.
Great. I'm Vanessa. Nice to meet you all. I have been in Web3 for around 3 years now, navigating, finding my place, learning a lot. And I'm a journalist, and I've also been dedicating to branding and marketing. And I'm also interested in spirituality. So entering Web3, I started in a very shy way, so to speak, crafting these mental health spaces, these wellness spaces, with this intention of, being Web2 or Web3, you are always very connected to a screen. So what better way to use this technology and to keep using your screen, but for grounding and, for having good health and having a wellness space that's so needed. But it was just like a year ago. It was just last year that I started fully working in Web3, because I always was with one foot or more than one foot on Web2, working for a marketing agency, and on the other side, navigating the space. And it was just last year when I started to work with metagame, and it was a pretty good way to go down the rabbit hole and learn a lot about the space, because I was in charge of show notes. So one of my duties was to listen to all the podcasts before they went out, and craft all the show notes. So it was a pretty good learning experience for me. Um, and I've also been helping them since to craft their marketing strategy, and all about growth with them, helping them in that side. And I've been, as I said, finding my place, and I started being very shy to now having my podcast, um, which is oriented to stories, because as a journalist, I'm interested in stories. I think that they are what connects us, and I always like to get to know people and their purposes and their stories, their origins. And that's kind of one of my purposes, to in a way give voice maybe to the ones that don't have it, and share stories that are worth sharing. So today I have my podcast, Web3 Roots, that doesn't go deep into the projects themselves, um, even though of course that we touched that, but it's more about the stories and the origins behind these regions doing great things on the space. So I've also been getting more involved with journalism, and I'm currently participating in research with a group of other journalists from Latin America, and we're uh, doing a map of Web3 projects in Latin America doing social impact. And well, that's kind of my focus in Web3: social impact, refi, and stories. What's behind all these projects, and what's behind, like, I like to say that that's the real value besides assets and tokens and everything. So when I do marketing, that's also what I try to bring, um, and that awareness that uh, you have to connect through your story. What's your story? What's your purpose? So with the brands that I've worked with in Web2 and in Web3, I that's what I try to highlight that story. And I've had many beautiful opportunities in working in Web2. I started I helped, sorry, one of the most important rum companies in my country to craft an ambassador program, They are rehabilitating. I lost the word. People in prison. They are rehabilitating them through tools for wellness and sports, among other things. So I help them craft this ambassador program so that when these people go out of prison fully regenerated, they are the ones that are the ambassadors for the brand, and telling how is possible that a rum can just change your life. Um, so that's a bit of my Web2 journey. So now that I'm in Web3, I'd like to um, push my podcast further, and also I would like to um, set this creative community of um, onboarding, education, curation that I call Chawarawa, which means friend or brother in the Woruha native community language, which would be a network of culture and collaboration, so that we connect our roots to the technology. And this is also because I want to have um, this cohesion in what I do, in what I have to offer, and also it would be a way for onboarding more people and onboarding also my friends, my local community that are not very aware of Web3, but that are very, very talented people and that have a lot of value to offer. So yeah, I think that's pretty much a good part of what I will be doing with this grant. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vanessa. Gosh, again, I mean, so inspiring, awesome. I'm so impressed with y'all, like creators, builders, advocates, some DAO punks. I mean, truly honored to have you all apply for cohort 3. I mean, making the world safer, more connected, more humane, right? I mean, this is why we're going to make it. Um, we have more AMAs. I can't remember Live Fast if there's like a protocol about folks doing more than one AMA or a preference one way or the other. Live Fast. Do you have any comments on that?
No, we don't really have any rules about you wanting to do more than one AMA. Ideally, you don't have to. We record all these AMAs and then we put them up on our YouTube channel for other people to listen to who prefer that type of medium to like listening about the applicants. So there's really no need to attend another one. But if you're happy to be around and we have time, we will happy to give you some chance to talk. But we will probably give preference to everybody else who hasn't had an opportunity to talk at that time.
Sounds about right. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for us? Okay, cool. Stay tuned for Discord announcements. I can't thank you enough for applying and for your time today. This was, I mean, these have all been awesome, but like truly, this is dope. I haven't hosted these before, and like I just forget how freaking you guys are just how great people are in this space. So I'm blown away. Like that was cool. Thanks again, and we'll see you around Discord. Okay, take care and let us know if you have any questions. Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Woo!
Woo. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording now.